Hello friends, and welcome to a super fun video. Today we are going to be going over those authors that just get me. Those authors that I just eat up whatever they are spitting out. I pick it up, I don't read the synopsis, I just add to cart, it's mine, I own it now. I will say we'll go over a couple of honorable mentions that aren't on here that are authors that I don't like rush to go pick up the new release. I'm not pre-ordering it, but I will probably grab it. A couple of those are, and I hate to say it, Frida McFadden. I know that a lot of people don't like her books. I know that a lot of people love her books. I love having her books on deck, on hand for when I'm in a reading slump, because nothing cures a reading slump than a quick little popcorn thriller that you can finish in one sitting. Bada bing, bada boom. Another honorable mention is Miss Abby Jimenez. I have only read 2 of her books as of right now, and Part of Your World and Yours Truly I do have just for the summer on my current TBR, and I do own multiple of her other books. I just have not gotten to them yet. So she's an honorable mention, as well as Catherine Center is an honorable mention. I have been really liking reading her books. And another one is Grady Hendrix. I have 3 books of his that I have not read, and I have 2 that I have read. One of them I loved, one of them I didn't love, and I just keep buying his books, but I'm not sure if he's like really an auto buy level yet. I need to do more research and find out if there are more hits or more misses. With that being said, we are gonna just jump into it. I think I'm gonna go over my more popular choices first. I would say 6 of the 10 are not very unique, but that's fine because I am nothing but a girl. I am just a girl who is like all of the other girls. I'm not trying to be not like the other girls. We all like what we like, and it is what it is. So it's kind of funny because of these 6, 3 of them are thriller authors and 3 of them are romance. We'll go over the 3 romance. Miss Emily Henry does have a place in my heart. Funny Story is my favorite Emily Henry book, which I feel like has been, this is like a hit or miss for people, which I don't get how anybody doesn't like it, but I've given all of her books a 4 or a 5 besides People We Meet on Vacation, but this is my #1 favorite. Emily Henry is a romance author if you are living under a rock and you do not know this information. But her books tend to focus more like, they lean, like I would say like 65% like contemporary women's fiction and then 35% towards romance. And I love that like divide. But Funny Story is my favorite. But regardless, all Emily Henry, she has a new book coming out, The Great Big Beautiful Life, I believe, and I will be sat at my Barnes & Noble, except for they don't ever put things out on time. So there's that. But I will definitely be picking that up as soon as it comes out. Next we have Miss Carly Fortune. I have read all 3 of her books. First off, her covers are stunning. I pulled this. This is not my favorite one. I would say that Every Summer After is my favorite, but I wanted some variety in colors and we didn't have any pink in this pile, so we did pull this. This one's my 2nd favorite, which I think a lot of people did not like this one, but I really did. And then the orange one, what's that one called? This one will be different, as I think my least favorite. But anywho, Miss Carly Fortune writes little romance novels. They are cutesy fun and just very entertaining, very good. I really like them. I feel like if you like Emily Henry, Christina Lauren, Abby Jimenez, you would like Carly Fortune, and her covers just, ugh, they just get me. I love. The next is my #1 favorite romance author, and that is Sarah Adams. I am not a spicy girl, which, not to yuck your yum if that's what you are into, it's just not for me. And I do like that pretty much all of her books that I've read have been closed door romance, aside from the rule book. That one has 1 spicy scene, but it tells you in the front of the book what chapter it is if you do wish to skip it. I did not like feel the need to skip it. Oh, another honorable mention would be Mariana Zapata. I've literally read 1 book by her, but I loved it so much that I want all of her books. I can't really even decide what book of Sarah's is my favorite. I have read both books in the cheat sheet duology. I've read When in Rome. I have read Practice Makes Perfect. I have Beg, Borrow, and Steal. I have not read it yet, but I've read it. The Match. I have The Enemy. And then I have The Off Limits Rule and Temporary Roommate is another like duology. But if Sarah Adams has written it, I own, I think, all of her books besides the like Regency romance, and I do plan to get it at some point, but this one is such a fun, unique concept. This one, if you have not read The Match, I think it is criminally underrated. It is about our main character, and she has epilepsy and she has a service dog, and it's like a single dad romance situation, and it is so cutesy, so fun, so fresh. Love her. Then we'll move into these 3 thriller authors. First we have Geneva Rose, and I do have this collector's edition of The Perfect Marriage with like the fun blood splatter and all of that, and I do have The Perfect Divorce pre-ordered, and I've read this book. I've read Almost Where the Bodies Are. That one I didn't love because I guessed the twist pretty easily, but I still liked it. I've read both books in the Detective Kimberly King series, and I enjoyed both of those. I have The Perfect Divorce pre-ordered. I think it's safe to say that I'm automatically picking up what she's writing. I know she has a couple of romance books. I'm interested to try those. If you've read her romance, let me know. We have the one and the only Riley Sager. I actually have 2 signed books from him, which is super duper cool. I got this one at the used bookstore, and I got it used, so it only was like 20 bucks, which for a signed hard copy is, hardcover is pretty cool. I have read Riley Sager's entire backlist of thriller books, okay? And I do have a video on the channel ranking them, or least favorite to favorite. Spoiler alert, is my #1 favorite, but up there in the top 3 is The Lies I Tell and Home Before Dark. Those are my top 3. Lock Every Door is up there as well. And then Final Girls, Middle of the Night, the car one. If I survive the night. Those are my least favorite. But regardless, With a Vengeance is coming out this year, and I will be driving there with a vengeance to pick it on up. And then we do have Jason Rakulik, I believe is how you say his last name, Hidden Pictures. You can see like my copy is beaten to shit. Because I've read this, Andrea's read this, her mother-in-law has read this, Chris has read this. Everybody that is in contact with me has read my copy of it, and it is so good. I will say I didn't love his book that came out this past year, The Last One at the Wedding, as much. However, I did go into that book knowing that this is classified as horror on Goodreads and the other one is classified as a mystery, and he did post on his stories that it is a mystery and it is not a horror, and I went into it with that knowledge, so I didn't have any like false pretenses going in. So I gave it a 4, but this was a 5. This is my favorite book ever. I think it is fan-freaking-tastic, and I highly recommend if you're living under a rock and have not read it. Okay, we're gonna go over my other 4 that are maybe a little bit you don't see on everybody's list. Next we have K.A. Tucker, and I have read this entire series. This is the Forever Wild series. You have Forever Wild is book 1. There's Forever Wild, which is a super cutie Christmas novella. There's Wild at Heart, which is book 2, and then there is Running Wild, and this is all in this series. This book is about the vet named Marie, but the other 3 books, the 2 books in the novella, are about Kala and Jonah, their life in Alaska, and I have her other book, Say You'll Love Me. I haven't read it yet, but I literally bought it just because I loved the writing in these books so much. They're like, technically you'll find them in the romance section at the store, but they do lean more fiction, which tends to be like my style when it comes to romance, so I do really enjoy. If you've not read that, highly recommend. The next one's a super random YA author, and that is Ellen Hopkins. If you have not, she also does have adult novels, but if you've not read her books, they are written in verse, and I was obsessed with Miss Ellen. In high school, I read all of her books quickly, like busted through all of them, and I have her newest book called Sink. I have not read it yet, and I'm missing one book. Y'all, I lent a couple of these to a friend and she lost them and did not replace them. We're not friends anymore. I love her books. They're all about very dark, very horrible topics, and check trigger warnings before you literally read any of them. Identical is my favorite of them. It's very shiny, but definitely check triggers before you read these books. However, though they're like really chunky, it can really bolster up your page count for the year. They're very quick reads because like there's not really words on most pages, and pretty much all of her books are like multiple points of views, multiple different people's stories, and then as the story continues, their lives intertwine. Then we have Freya Sampson, and this is the literal only book I've read by her, and I have purchased her other 2 books and am waiting for her next book to come out this year. This book was so good. It had me sobbing like a baby. This is The Last Chance Library, and she has a cozy mystery called Nosy Neighbors, and The Lost Ticket is, I think, more literary fiction. This is literary fiction, and they're just so full of heart, and that is something I love, crying to a book. So there's that. And then we have another author that I've read her entire backlist, and that is Rebecca Searle. I think she's a super underrated author, and none of her books have that good of a rating on Goodreads. I think they all have like mid-3, but I think that's because they are magical realism. And I have noticed, besides Ashley Poston, I feel like people don't get magical realism. I feel like people go into it wanting it to be fully fantasy, but it's not. It's realism with a touch of magic, and as somebody who has a pea brain and can't really comprehend fantasy, I think magical realism is like what works for me when it involves magical things, and I love that about her books. There is One Italian Summer, which I gave 5 stars, In 5 Years, which I gave 5 stars, and then The Dinner List and Expiration Dates, I gave both of those 4 stars, and I have loved all of her books. They have all made me cry. They're just so good and so like heartwarming and soul crushing, and they're just so good. So if you take anything away from this video, it is to check out Rebecca Searle. One Italian Summer, I think, only hits super hard if you have a close relationship with your mother. This is about her mother who has passed away, and my mom was my BFF, and she passed away about 9 years ago, so it really hit for me. It really hit for my sister. But people of my friend group who have had to read this that don't have a dead mom or don't have a good relationship with their mom, it didn't hit as hard. So if you aren't super close with your mother or haven't lost her on, this might not be like a 5-star for you. But if that's the case, I would suggest you read In 5 Years, which is a story more about friendship. So that is it, guys. Those are my top 10 auto buy authors. Do we have any similar ones? Who are you can give me your top 10, you can be your top 5, you can give me your top 2. Let me know down below if there's any authors I should be checking out, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!